Hello there, welcome to the part 2 of our catering website design, the body section. So in today's tutorial we're going to be looking at how we can design a simple footer. In our last tutorial we looked at how we have added a banner to our web page, and then we look at how we added a section of three a section of three division, three different boxes. So we're gonna add some borders to these boxes. So let's look at those boxes we designed in our last tutorial. So we designed a box like this, but of course you will not easily notice that it's a box. What I'm gonna do today is that I'm gonna add some kind of border to these boxes so that you see how the boxes are appearing. Okay, to do that I'm just gonna add a new class to these boxes. Maybe I'll just call it border, like this. So I'm gonna create a new class called border. I'm gonna add it to all the classes, all the box classes. So if I want my boxes to have borders, then I'm gonna add the border class to them. So to do that, I'm just come back here in my CSS, and then I'll define a class like this. I'm gonna give it a border. Say a border should be let's say one pixel. Border should be 1 pixel. Let's say solid, and let's say the color should be hash ccc. Then it should have a border radius of maybe 8 pixels. So border radius makes the edges to be rounded, so to have a rounded edges. Okay, so if I refresh that and I have this now mind you that the border they are not part of the boxes, and so if they are part of the boxes, then they are gonna have, well, what we could do is that we could create a new div in the boxes. So and then we could create a new div like this. We could create a new div, say div, and give it a class, a box, a class of border like this, and then we could delete this one. All right, and then we could close that div here, close div, then we could do this like this. Okay, so we could actually do something like this. So instead of adding the border class to this, we could create a new div, and then we put in the border like this. Okay, so doing this now, it means the border is gonna take space inside of the content of the box, therefore not increasing the the the, the width of the box. Okay, then so in that case our boxes are gonna be back to they're gonna be back to the one line, a straight line that they have been. Okay, so if you look at this now, you realize that they're now back to one straight line. So I'm gonna add another class now to my box, which is the class that will give it padding. So I'm gonna create another class here. Although I'm just gonna add it to the box class. And say padding should have an all-around padding of 8 pixels. Okay, so if you do that, they're gonna see some spaces around the boxes like this. Okay, then if it's gonna have some padding around it, then the width is going to the width is gonna change, right? So if it's gonna have padding of 8 pixels, then I will most likely change the width. Let's try 33. Let's try 33. No, too small. Let's try 32. Okay, let's try 31. Okay, something like this. Yeah. Okay, then the next thing I'm gonna solve is that if you look at my boxes, one of them seems to be larger, bigger than the other. So in order to solve this, I'm gonna have to give them a minimum height. So I'll pick the height of this one, the longest, and I'll use it as a starting point, giving a minimum height to all of my boxes. Okay, so it has a height of 200 and okay, 246 right now. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna stick to 246. If I give them a minimum height of 246. Okay, good. Let's do this. A minimum height of 246. Let's try something. Okay, so if we come here, say we have a minimum height of 240. For example, let's try 240 pixels. A minimum height of 240 pixels for each. Yeah. Oh, sorry. We're gonna give the minimum height to our border. Yep. So good. Our border are now having the same height. We could as well give the minimum height to our text, right? Since the text causes the variation in height, so we could as well give the minimum height to our text since it causes the variation in height, like this. Good. I think I prefer it here. Okay, so now we're just gonna design our footer. Depending on what we want to get in our footer, we could decide to use the same section definition like this in our footer, but the content in this case might be different, like this. Then after that, we could have another div where we are gonna bring in our copyright. So we can call this one class, say copyright, for example. Then we could have our copy. Remember our HTML entity by name, right? So this give us copyright. And you can now say A1 Catering. All rights reserved. So we could as well add a year to this, for example. So we're gonna define this our class here now by coming here and then we change the text align to center definitely, and then we add some padding. So padding should be 12 pixels. Good. And then we save that. Now the next thing is that we're gonna change the content of this our boxes, and in this case we don't need the border, so we're gonna remove this one. We don't need the border, but we need we could reuse the text class, so we're gonna remove this one, and we're gonna remove this one. So we have div dot text like this. Okay, and then we could have something like maybe quick links. Then we could have another div dot text here, and we could have maybe contact us. That's maybe our contact addresses and social media. So we could have a social media in the center. So div dot text like this, and we could say something like connect. You say follow us like this. All right. Okay. So let's see what we have now. Good. We could have something like this. We could as well change. I've not seen this one, so I'm gonna change maybe the color. Could it be the color? Okay, let's increase the font size to maybe 16 pixels, and then we can change the color, maybe something visible. Let's just see. By default the color is black, so I think I'm okay with black. But I would like to create another class called footer. Oh no, I'll simply define my footer here. Okay, I'd like to define it somewhere here. Footer like this, and I would like to change the background color to good. Let's see what background color can I use. The same background color as the header. So what background color did I use in the header? Okay, I use EEE, so I could just copy the whole of this and then use it in my footer like this. So I want my footer to have the same background color. Okay. Okay, good. I have seen it. I've seen my footer, but then my footer is high up because my content has no fixed height. So I'm gonna give my content here a fixed height. Where's my content? Here. So I'm gonna give it but it does have okay, good. I'm gonna give it a minimum height. So the advantage of minimum height is that when you give a minimum height, the browser adjusts itself. It adjusts itself based on your content. Okay. Yep, and I'm gonna change the display to block like this. Then I'm gonna change I'm just gonna change okay, I'm just gonna change my display to I'm just gonna change the display of my content. So I'm gonna change the display of my content to okay, I'm gonna change it to table. So the table display makes life easy for us by making its content its content automatically take the size of the box takes the size of its content. Okay, so if you see this now, we could have some links here, and maybe some write-up, maybe an address. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's just fix something there. Let's say I want to have a link, quick links. Okay, now let's give it another, let's say div dot vertical uh, okay, now let's say div dot yeah, div dot links. If I say div dot links, it's gonna give the same. I already have a class called links, so I don't want to use that one. I want to use maybe v links, v standing for vertical, right? So um, I'm gonna have my home links. Let's say I'm just gonna repeat these links but with different CSS properties and settings. Okay, so I have these links now. I'm just gonna put, so I'm gonna style my vlinks class here by say dot vlinks, and then I'm gonna give the same styles as I have. Okay, so I'm gonna define exactly the same style, but then it's gonna have gonna be something different, a little variation. So I'm gonna say vlinks a. I'm gonna leave this one. This one I'm gonna reduce it a bit. The padding top and padding bottom will be 6 pixels. Left and right maybe 8 pixels. Then the float property, I'm gonna remove the float property now. Display block, yes, I like that one. And the color this, okay, let's see what we have with this. So the color remains, right? Good. So we have quick links like this. Then the next thing is okay, I'm gonna change my footer display to table as well to make it flow. Take the size of, I'm gonna change the width of course to 100%. Good. Now I'm gonna change my quick links. I want the heading to be right aligned, no, left aligned, instead of, so that it will align with my links. So to do that, I'm gonna look at the settings here, text, right? And my text link is already aligned to the center. So I'm gonna create a new class now. Then I'm gonna create a new class, and I'm gonna enforce. So I'm gonna call it say dot left align like this, and I'm gonna say text align should be left, but then I'm gonna enforce that. So in CSS, when you have two conflicting classes, or you have two conflicting properties, you can make one to take precedence over the other by enforcing. So to do that, you just add the ampersand, no, sorry, the exclamation mark followed by important. So what that does is that since there are two conflicting properties in the two classes, so I have the text align to be center here in this class, and I have text align to be left in this other class. So what's gonna happen is that this one is gonna take precedence over the other because you have enforced it. So if I refresh my web page now, you see that my quick links is now left aligned because it has taken precedence over the other one. And I'm gonna give a font size now to maybe 14 pixels. Good. And what do I have? Oh, that's even smaller. Okay, let's try 16. And what do I have? Okay, that's okay. So I could have some social icons here like Facebook, WhatsApp, Google Plus, Twitter, and then I could have my address here. I'm gonna change the display of my copyright as well to become table. Okay, and I'm gonna okay, let's see that what am I missing? Okay, good. I have floated, so now since I floated here and here, I'm gonna have to use the clear property. I'm gonna have to use the clear property to enforce to stop my copyright box from going up. So I'm gonna just add the clear to the boot, so it clears. Then my text line is center. Okay, no, I'm just gonna remove this one. Good. Then I'm gonna okay, good. Now I want to bring in my social icons. So I'm gonna come here now. I'm gonna create div.icon. So then I'm gonna bring in my I tag, say I, and then I'm gonna say class. I want to bring in my maybe FA Facebook, for example. Let's see, do we have a Facebook icon? Yeah, we do. Then I'm gonna bring in another icon. Oh, let's see, does it take the same size? Oh, that's too big. That's too big. Okay, okay, I'm gonna just remove this class. I'll call it social, like this. Let's see, can I bring in my so, uh, can I bring in my other icons, other social icons, for example, Twitter, yeah, WhatsApp, WhatsApp, yeah, what else? Google Plus. Let's see, let's try something like this. What about Instagram? See, Insta, Instagram. Okay, let's see what we have now. Uh, okay, so who is not showing? We have Twitter, we have Instagram. We didn't have Google Plus. Google Plus. How is it principal? Let's try this. Oops. Okay, let's search for it. We can open our font awesome. Could say Google Plus. Okay, there's a hyphen, so I'm gonna use a hyphen now. Google Plus. Yeah. Okay, let's see that. Okay, that's yeah. What about WhatsApp? Let's search for WhatsApp. What's up? Okay, we have WhatsApp. So WhatsApp were pretty correct in our spelling, but then it's not visible. What what's up? So we're just gonna remove that one. So we have four social icons. Social icons. So I'm gonna create my social icon class. So I'm gonna create this one now, this class in my CSS. So I'm gonna have dot social is here. Okay, and I'm gonna have okay, let's see, well, how do we want to arrange it? Okay, I'm gonna align it to the center, so text align center, right? So it's gonna align its content to the center. That's one. Then next I want to increase the fonts, so I'm gonna create another class now, say dot social, then the I tag. So I'm trying to target the I tag, and I'm gonna increase the font size. The font size should be 20 pixels. How does that look? See? Okay, then what else? I want to give them some kind of margin so that there will be some kind of space around them. Okay, so margin, let's say 10 pixels. 10 pixels, not too much. Well, I don't know. Good. Then the next thing, they are supposed to be links, right? Yeah, they're supposed to be links. So I'm gonna make them links, since they're gonna link us to okay, so this will link us to facebook.com, for example, facebook.com, right? And then I'm gonna close it here, and then this one is gonna link us to twitter.com, twitter.com, right? And I'm gonna close it right here. This as well is gonna link us to let's say Google and googleplus.com, for example. And I'm gonna close that just right here. This as well is gonna link us to instagram.com. I'm gonna close that right here. Okay, so if we refresh our page now, perfect. Now I'm gonna have another text here, contact us. So I'm gonna use another div here. Now I'm just going to make it give it a class. I just a class address, for example. So say meet us at Maryland. Oh, that is just a random address. It's not a real address, it's just for the purpose of learning. Say Maryland, Maryland, USA. That's funny. Okay, so what do we have now? this is what we have. So I'm gonna change the, I'm gonna style this address line. I just want to increase the font a bit. So just come here and I'll say address line, and I'm just gonna say font size. Font size should be maybe 20 pixels, for example, and then I can just do that. Good. So this is what we have now on our website. This is our home page. Now we could use this home page to start creating other pages, such as our about page, menu page, and contact page. So I'm gonna give you an address. I'm gonna give you an assignment. Your assignment is that you're gonna have to work on the about page, right? You can see the about page does not exist. So to do that, you need to create the about page, and in the about page, you're gonna talk about the history of the catering business and how it has been very successful, what are its future plans, visions and mission of the catering business. Okay, see you in our next class.